the HE boys, high explosives, they went in 16 to 20,000 feet in layers, 500-foot layers, and dropped their stuff from 0 to 0 plus 3 minutes. And we were trained to do that, and we'd get rid of it in 3 minutes. If you were late after 3 minutes, you didn't drop. You had to bring it home. Not that they did. They dropped it in the Adriatic. And more experienced crews, they went in at 0 plus 3 to 0 plus 4 with incendiaries, bundles of incendiaries, which would scatter all over the sky. Well, I did 4 of those trips. And the theory was that the HE would be knocking out the anti-aircraft. And you could go in low at 4,000 feet, but they were waiting for you because they knew you were coming. And you were a much easier shot for them at 4,000 than 16 or 20,000 with a delayed action fuse. And this night, as we go in with our incendiaries, and we're on time and everything's perfect, suddenly my right aileron jammed and my Liberator turned over about 60 degrees over there. And I had no idea what had happened, other than I assumed it was anti-aircraft fire. Had come through from below, but with a delayed fuse, gone straight through and jammed the aileron. So myself and my fighting team just managed to level it, and I screamed to the bomb aimer to just jettison. Although we weren't right on target, we were somewhere near it. And we got out of there, but as we got away, the whole Liberator was shuddering. The whole airframe was shuddering. And I said, what's wrong? You know, our ailerons were right. It must have done more damage. Keeble, get back there with the, what do you call it? You know, the little spotlight thing we had, and check the rest of the wings on both sides, which he did, and he came back and he said, oh, Skip, there are a couple of holes on both sides. I said, well, something's wrong. If he'd have turned that thing onto the leading edge of the tailplane, starboard tailplane, he would have reported to me that it had a gap in it that wide and about that long on one side. Enough, you know, for it to fall off. Well, she would have been asymmetrical and she'd have gone in straight away. But that was what was causing the shaking. And I didn't know this until the next morning. I got home that night, asked for a priority landing in case the hydraulics were hit. Got in, no trouble. But the next morning, the engineer from wing maintenance comes down. That's where they'd parked it for the night. It was a write-off. Come here, Tate. Get up those steps, you know. Have a look at the top of your main plane. Top of the main plane had this slashing slash, and then it had dropped cleanly through underneath. Now, we'd only seen it from underneath and assumed that was the shell going through with a delayed action fuse. But that slash on the top, he said, Tate, that was an incendiary that was falling out of the sky above you. One of our own people dropped incendiaries from height. They didn't come down to the 4,000 feet, and they were a crew. Now, I never followed up, you know, I was too disgusted, really, and I was sure they were caught up with. And they were a crew that we heard later, you know, they're practically on their final tour trip of 30 ops, and they decided it'd be safer to stay up there, but they didn't allow for us, of course.